Marilyn Akerson-Corbitt. I'm a fiber artist and currently involved in the felting process. Both pieces were wet felted and were inspired from the natural environment I enjoy in my backyard in New York.
Off the Wall, 9 feet, merino wool. Off the Wall is a 9-foot-tall piece I designed specifically for an 18-foot-high wall. It is all done in wet felted merino wool. This was a positive piece for me, created during COVID lockdown. Opening Up to the Light, 8 inches, merino wool, tree root. Opening Up to the Light is also a wet felted piece created in merino wool. It was constructed of several pods bursting out of a piece of dead root material from my woods and stands 8 inches tall. Sheila Benedis. The Gift, 10 1/4 inches by 12 inches by 10 inches, paper, ink, photographs. My work is autobiographical. The Gift, an artist book, is based on a poem of 3 generations of my family enriched by hiking. My son was introduced as a child, became a serious hiker as an adult, shared hiking with his children, and now his hiking photographs fuel my creativity. Innocent Sounds, 19.5 inches by 15 inches by 1 inch, paper, ink. Innocent Sounds incorporates my poem based on my Asperger experience. Stacy Bogdonoff. My art continues to explore the themes of home, safety, and shelter while always seeking new media and unconventional processes. This new series is made with vintage stained curtain lining and discarded scraps of quilt backing. Each one refers to a place where I lived. These are becoming a timeline of my life. '99 Bowery, 12 inches by 12 inches, vintage linen, silk. Uptown Downtown, 18 inches by 24 inches, vintage linen, silk, hemp. Peggy Dembicer. Bazooka, 6 inches by 9 inches. Shrooms and Blooms, 15 inches by 15 inches by 1 inch. Seed beads, sequins, canvas. Shrooms and Blooms is created by stitching seed beads and sequins into shapes inspired by designs found in antique metal movie reels. Ellen Devens. Lemon Meringue, 14 inches by 14 inches. Oil paint, paper, textile, old Tibetan wood, threads, abalone antique jewelry, red and crystal checked stones. The mixed media work Lemon Meringue began with hand-painted Italian silk organza. It contains antique Tibetan wood and gold threads which represent an ongoing life continuum I frequently incorporate in my work. Little Complications, 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Japanese antique textiles and paper, vintage silk trim, threads. The small work Little Complications highlights my love of old textiles and threads and my love of miniatures.
Joan Diamond.
Before, dimensions variable, 53 inches by 8 inches, by 1/4 inch, varying substrates of protein fibers with acid dyes, linen, acrylic, metal strapping. I've included myself here to show the scale of these 10 pods, whose mean average is 4 feet. They are situated relatively near to the floor over rings of river birch tree seeds and suspended from the ceiling. They twirl freely with the breeze. Before. Detail. Pods are a sandwich of machine-stitched shibori on varying substrates of protein fibers with acid dyes. Mounted to linen with gold acrylic, mounted to spines of metal strapping under rust, tea-stained linen. Terry Figliuzzi. As I continue to explore alternate processes in photography, this year I have focused on using a plant-based developer to produce phytograms on film, printing on vellum, and backing with gold and silver leaf. My next goal is to combine these prints with textiles, using weaving, stitching, and printing on fabric. Venture, 12.5 inches by 10 inches. Vellum, pigment print backed with silver and gold leaf. Fortitude, 12.5 inches by 10 inches. Vellum, pigment print backed with silver and gold leaf. Marilyn Henrion. I create images from my original photographs, which are digitally manipulated before committing them to a work. I'm often conflicted about how much abstraction to choose. Fascination with detail in the representational subject vies with the personal emotional component conveyed in the abstraction. I do not know which to prefer, the beauty of inflections or the beauty of innuendos, the blackbird whistling or just after. Wallace Stevens. Innuendo 4. 30 inches by 40 inches by 1.5 inch. Organic cotton sateen, hand quilted. Innuendo 6. 40 inches by 30 inches by 1.5 inches. Organic cotton sateen, hand quilted. Eileen Hoffman. I am fascinated with the emotions and stories that are woven into the fabric of textile projects. I want to make these stories visible, especially the hidden stories of women's lives, including my own, while grappling with sexism. I utilized the metaphor of the color pink to reclaim the strength and intelligence of women. The intimate becomes political in my art. When We Were Princesses, Grid 2. 52.5 inches by 61.5 inches. Individual paintings are 12 inches by 9 inches. Acrylic paint on Duralar, pen on matte film, chenille stems. The Rapunzel Stories, Knitting Her Blanket. 89 inches by 55 inches by 38 inches. Acrylic paint on Duralar, chenille stems. Nancy Koenigsberg. The grid has been a long-time interest and focus of my net pieces. These pieces are knotted using copper wire. Varying the wire and the sizes of the grid, I am able to create pieces that drape like cloth. Ocean Nets, 69 inches by 32 inches by 18 inches. Coated copper wire. Rouge, 60 inches by 20 inches by 10 inches. Coated copper wire. Mary Lane. My work in tapestry is both large and small scale. I enjoy the monumental work for its historical reference and embracing warmth. Miniature work attracts me with its intimacy and quick execution. I also use the smaller work to explore new directions. The designs for both of these pieces were created in Photoshop. Wander, 52 inches by 30 inches by 1 inch. Cotton warp, wool, and cotton weft. Span, 9 inches by 8 1/4 inches by 1 inch. Cotton warp, wool, and cotton weft. Judy Langille. In my series Earth Elements, my work represents what is happening in the environment. Rust, tannin, and indigo are the substances that color my work. Rust is the natural corrosion of metal. Tannin and indigo are of plant origin. These three materials appear to create a series of layers which sometimes overlap and sometimes remain distinct. Earth Elements 4. 40 inches by 26 inches. Cotton linen fabric, rust and tannin, threads. Earth Element 6. 36 inches by 26 inches. Cotton linen fabric, indigo, tannins, threads. Elaine Longtom, The Alzheimer's Project. This incredibly time-consuming project consists of donated memories printed on fabric, cut and ironed into two-sided strips, suspended initially from a 15-foot canvas and dropped bit by bit to the floor until the canvas is empty and the disease is revealed. I have 562 memories thus far, 133 donated by other people in 3 languages. I am still accepting donated memories. The Alzheimer's Project. Canvas 28 inches by 168 inches by 2 inches. Hanging memories in rope 65 inches by 168 inches by 8 inches. Cotton canvas, acrylic, cotton rope, and cable cord, inkjet printing on cotton fabric. Lost memories, 36 inches by 168 inches by 2 inches. Cotton canvas, acrylic, cotton rope, and cable cord, inkjet printing on cotton fabric. Patricia Malarcher. These pieces are shaped and textured by hand-stitched ridges in fabric that are then dipped in clear encaustic medium. Rapid hardening of the fabric while it is pliable influences the final form. The finished pieces may suggest an organic structure, a text, or a gesture. Cage's Echo was inspired by John Cage's silent presentation, 5 minutes, 33 seconds. Cage's Echo, 36 inches, 12 inches by 1/2 inch. Fabric, thread, encaustic medium. It, 6 inches by 7 inches by 4 inches. Fabric, thread, encaustic medium. Jean Marklin. My love for trees and concern for the environment inspired these pieces. I hope it inspires viewers to care about them enough to make changes in their lives. Leaf shields, 25 inches by 41.5 inches. It is a whole cloth cotton piece. I used Tyvek to make silk screens and printed them with thickened Procyon dye. The background is monoprinted. Free motion, machine quilted. Seasons of trees, 34 inches by 30 inches. Cotton, dye, Inktense pencils, thread. The background was printed by Spoonflower from a photo I took of a tree scar in Dublin. I used Thermofax screens for the multicolored tree shapes with thickened dyes. The large tree shape was made by taping and then scraping paint on it. Some additional shading was done with Inktense pencils. Free motion machine quilted. Mary McFerran. Weatherware is my show at Bow Gallery in Beacon. The wall you see shows the way garment-like pieces alternate with printed wallpaper. My original paintings of storms, forest fires, drought, floods are the source for both the sewn garments and the wallpaper. My aim is to alert viewers to the extreme weather conditions now frequently headlined in news stories. Weatherware, installation view, assorted cloth, wallpaper. Drought dress, 48 inches by 13 inches by 1 inch. Bonnie Peterson. Atmospheric warming, 8 inches by 30 inches by 5 inches. Silk with rayon and silk threads, oil can. This red piece of silk shows atmospheric warming in the Mediterranean basin, blue, and global, green, with respect to the pre-industrial period 1880 through 1899. In the Mediterranean region, average annual temperatures are now 2.52 degrees Fahrenheit, 1.4 degrees Celsius higher than during the pre-industrial period of 1880 through 1899. Climate anomaly globe, 17 inches by 17 inches by 17 inches. Ribbons, needles, school globe. More than 100 climate anomalies or deviations published by NASA and the WMO for 2017 to 2020 are posted at their locations around the globe. Ellen Ramsey. For me, weaving soft tactile circuitry is a way to explore the humanity that is wired into our digital world. I make both large-scale tapestries and small mixed-media works that consider the themes of connection, consumption, and materiality as it relates to technology. Portal to the
Soft
Metaverse.
processor,
68 inches by 77 inches. Cotton, wool, silk,
rayon,
tensile, metallic thread,
electric. Soft processor,
Portal to the Metaverse, 68 inches by 77 inches. Cotton, wool, silk, tensile, metallic thread. Wen Redmond. Layers of meaning, 30 inches by 50 inches by 1/2 inch. Artist printed, digitally prepared silk organza, molding paste, tissue paper, recycled tea bag liners, text, string, gesso, interfacing, batting, and specialty mediums. Art making is a journey advancing and retreating with inspiration. The digital silk organza sections hover, lift, and breathe, floating seeds in the air to be caught, perchance to land. Drawing a breath, 22 inches by 24 inches by 5/16 of an inch. Original photograph, inkjet printed by artist, on digital ready flashing and duct tape collage, interfacing, digital silk organza, and brats. An exploration to create a photograph with alternative substrates. Recycled or unusual materials give unique and ever more interesting results than simple paper or fabric alone. Michael Rohde. The two images presented are from work currently in a 2-person museum exhibition in Pomona, California at AMOCA. The exhibition pairs work of Michael Rohde and ceramic sculptor Cheryl Ann Thomas. The exhibition contains about 50 pieces total. In addition to standalone works by each artist, each created works in response to the other's work. Ray, blue cipher, 55 inches by 32 inches, alpaca, natural dyes. Ray, enigma, 48 inches by 32.5 inches, wool, natural dyes. Theda Sandiford. Grass is not greener, emotional baggage cart. 40 inches by 21 inches by 39 inches. Gold painted recovered shopping cart, paracord, zip-tie blanket and basket woven with marine waste. We all carry emotional baggage. Naturally, these manifest differently for each of us. Some of us push shopping carts of pain and bitterness, while some of us just have a backpack. I carry a lifetime of racial trauma. Being alive means having the capacity to carry past experiences and learn from them. But there's a point when this baggage becomes too much. Carrying too much emotional baggage can literally stop us from being open to new experiences, intimacy, and growth. How we choose to handle our baggage makes a difference. We have the choice to let it define us or to let it go and move forward. Head full of joyful noise, purple orchids. 55 inches by 18 inches by 9 inches. 6 cider 6-pack cradles and various single-use bottle caps strung and knotted with blue and white polyurethane rope, draped on customized 2-foot wooden board. Drawing inspiration from African hair beading traditions, different bottle caps have been strung and knotted together into a colorful, oversized, beaded braids. Larry Schulte. 2 pink webs, 19 inches by 26 inches, acrylic paint on paper, screen-printed collage materials, machine stitching. My work is about creating structure, order. 2 pink webs consists of acrylic paint on paper with 2 small screen prints deconstructed and collaged and machine stitched onto the background. Yellow orbs, 36 inches by 36 inches, woven painted paper. Yellow orbs is acrylic paint on paper cut into strips and woven. The weave structure and the width of the strips is based on the Fibonacci sequence, which is found in the structure of nature. Anne Bollum. Bedazzled, 29 inches by 11 inches by 9.5 inches. Echo and rust-dyed repurposed fabric, repurposed PET fibers, hardware cloth, embroidery floss, wool, wire, washers, vintage costume jewelry, sequins, beads, fabric flowers, basket cord. Bedazzled was created in the spirit of maximalism inspired by the Nick Cave exhibit at the Guggenheim. Echo-dyed fabric is stitched into poofs, embellished and then rust-dyed. Once I have a large pile, they are assembled and stitched onto a hardware cloth form, and finally bedazzled. Gilded Beast, 18.5 inches by 18.5 inches by 1/8 inch. Echo-dyed cotton, repurposed fabrics, embroidery thread, sequins, beads, vintage buttons. This is a resurrected artwork rescued from my cat's bed. The beastie was drawn back in 2017 on white cotton and had lingered in my studio. I recently echo-dyed it, then quilted it with a hand stitch, adding vintage buttons, sequins, beads, and metallic threads for embellishment. Victoria Findlay Wolfe. Using photography and traditional quilt elements, I'm exploring ways my art could have been in the 90s, where my work prompted a conversation if it was art or craft in art college. Craft, my peers said. In my college throwback series, I'm challenging that perception of the techniques I was using with nostalgic images and patchwork. Better Days, 108 inches by 80 inches by 1/4 inch, cotton, digital printed cotton, wool batting. Grandma Elda, 36 inches by 34 inches by 1/2 inch, cotton, digital cotton, double knit polyester, cotton 12 weight thread, wool batting. Deborah Yaffe. Making art is a touchstone for me, a way to connect with my inner self. As a child, I was surrounded by parents who were artists, so art materials, and visual expression were all around me. I was mostly drawn to the abstract expressionists and then later on textile arts. Recently, I left the city and moved to western Massachusetts in a beautiful part of the Pioneer Valley. Surrounded by trees, I'm strongly influenced by nature, the woods, birds, and insects, their sounds and the homes they build. Through my work, I explore the relationship between the body and nature, the process of time and personal history, and the cycles of growth and decay. I am inspired by the natural world and use materials found, gathered, and discarded in the environment. One of my favorite artists, the sculptor Philida Barlow, said this about her interest in the natural process. There's something about that edge where those two things coexist, damage and repair. And nature gives evidence to that in extraordinary ways, where you can see the rotting tree, but you also see the new green shoots springing out of it. From the ground up, 24 inches by 12 inches by 1/2 inch. Paper, paint, thread, fiber, cotton, beads, wood, glue on canvas. Inside, 24 inches by 18 inches. Paint, recycled paper, repurposed plastic, yarn, beads, glue on canvas. Sarah Lisa Yatala. A few years ago, I lost my husband. In the time after his death, sorting through his possessions, I have thought a lot about our memories and how we hold them. They are precious but so ephemeral. These works try to catch and hold the memories in a net, but ultimately nets, like our minds, cannot keep them all. Memory catcher, 48 inches by 50 inches by 3 inches. Hand-spun paper thread, pine paper thread. "41 years. Dimensions variable. Pine paper thread.